バカの一つ覚えでも永遠のマイフェイバリットヒーローさ。魔法カード発動、ミラクルフュージョン。究極のヒーローの力見せてやるぜ。
Hello everyone, friends of the channel, welcome to a new video. I am your host Yukihiro YGO and this is Gear Legacy. If you by any chance missed the last video, go check it out. It's this thumbnail right here, it's on the channel. You will figure it out yourself why I am doing this. In any other case, don't ask yourself too many questions and let's begin the video. So, this is my first time doing a deck profile in English or an English video of any kind. I've tried streaming in English a couple of times, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's dive right into the deck profile. I think being straightforward is the right move. So, in this hero deck profile, I am just going to showcase the cards and explain them a little bit. So for the elemental heroes, we have of course the OG Neos, double elemental hero Stratos, one liquid soldier, one shadow mist, and that's it for the elemental hero package. So first of all, I'm not a big fan of only having one shadow mist into the deck, but I figured, together with Fedebix, one of the greatest hero mind, at least in the Italian scene, we are like 4 people who play heroes in Italy, we came to the conclusion that by getting rid of one Shadow Mist equals getting rid of one brick, meaning you have one more slot for a staple card like a hand trap or a board breaker, something like that. And while I think that's good for the deck, especially in this format, which is really heavily hand trap dependent because of the Calamity FTK and the Manadium board that the deck can do. It's really good going first in this format, and so many decks struggle going second. So that's why we are opting for a more staple heavy deck. Heavy list, even though one Shadow Mist does not respect grind games and Kashtira in particular at all. But I'm not entirely sure about it, so let me know in the comments what you think. Meanwhile, double Stratos, I've always been the advocate for playing 3 Stratos, but especially now, by the time passing, it will be even more obvious. This is not that good of a start, because it's the normal summon that it's the most fragile to hit. If we happen to get ashed on the normal summon of Stratos, most of the time we pass. If the Stratos get ashed or normal summon, we must have a Fusion Destiny or a Faris with an hero to discard to pop off, but yeah, that won't always happen. Also, if we already have a way to play with the Vision Hero Vine by having Faris and another hero in hand, why bother normal summoning Stratos when it could be the last thing to do to end the board with maybe by adding a Dark Angel or a Plasma. So it may be a bait, but it surely is a bait against the right kind of player, the one who knows how hero works. So the Ashen Stratos is really dangerous, beware of that. Since this is the normal summon of the deck that you least want to perform, you don't always want to draw it. Getting ashed on the normal summon in hero really hurts, so beware of that. And then the other cards are self-explanatory. You need Neos for the Infernal Rage combo. There are a lot of times in which I really miss the Honest Neos, but we have spoilers Dread Decimator in the extra deck, so we can manage. For the Destiny heroes, we only play in the main deck 1 Plasma, 2 Malicious, and of course the mandatory Denier. So that's it for the Destiny heroes. We do play Dark Angel, but in the sideboard. The reason for that is because you are not always able to resolve it because of the presence of so many bestials and so many interruption that the opponent may have. Also, you give a body to the opponent without having a rivalry of the warlords in the main deck, so everything is in the sideboard. Besides, the way I play heroes right now is by having DPE, favorite contact, and nothing else. 90% of the time, that is enough to beat any deck, because spoilers, in a synchro format, in a Kashtira format, popping 3 cards in separate chains wins the game. So that's that simple. You only need DPE and Shining Neos. Furthermore, by cutting more bricks and adding more staples, you will draw in your opening hand with more probability something like a Book of Moon and Ash Blossom alongside your ending board, your end board. So if you have a pop with DPE, 2 pops with Shining Neos, and a Book of Moon or an Ash Blossom in your hand, that wins like most matches. So that's the reasoning behind this type of choices. I'm talking too much. We have 3 Vision Hero Ferris, 2 Vision Hero Vions, and only 1 increase. So I've came to the conclusion that I want to play only 1 increase, because if your deck has to depend on 1 single line, then it's not a good deck. I'm sorry. If you want to resolve increase that much, then I'm sorry. Like, really, try to change your mentality. It's not imperative always to resolve Vision Hero increase. The deck has many other power plays. We have the normal summon of Vion, we have the Fusion Destiny, we have the Foolish Burial. Really, there is no really that good of a reason to run 2 increase, which can make you brick more potentially, because like I said, increase is not the only brick of the deck. You can brick on multiple Destiny heroes, you can brick on Neos, you can brick on Miracle Fusion. So why bother adding 1 more brick to the deck to resolve 1 specific line by adding the probability to brick even more? By the way, I consistently draw double increase, so it also depends on my personal luck if I made this choice. But anyway, you can play 2 increase. Sometimes it really is good for the deck to resolve both. And also, if by any chance you open Ferris plus increase and you want to use the effect of Ferris to place another increase from the deck, and you are going second, and if your Ferris get impermed or veilered, you already have an increase on in the graveyard, and you made waste your opponent 1 interruption. So if you go into the battle phase, you can still apply the effect of increase by receiving damage and resolve it in the main phase too. These are niche cases, but that could happen when the second increase really is needed, but they also can be said if you play only 1. So I'm sticking with this choice. Anyone can play whatever the number of increase you want, even 3, I don't care, I play 1. So these were my reasonings and advices for playing 1 increase. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it comes to bite you. I don't care, okay? I believe in heroes. I know heroes can do a lot more than placing increase in the spell traps and shut up. Okay, so going into the spells, we have 3 Fusion Destiny, of course, 3 copies of 1 Hero Lives, and 2 copies of Mask Change. So the reason why I play only 2 Stratos is also because I have only 2 Mask Change. It's not always the case we hard open a Mask Change or a Book of Moon to protect our Stratos from an Imperm. So really, you have to play the least amount of normal summons into this deck as possible to really see it pop off. Also, you know the deck likes to go first, but it's really good going second also because of the amount of staples we added by cutting some cards and adding other in the sideboard. Finishing with the spells, we have of course our extenders, one Foolish Burial, one Reinforcement of the Army. This is an easy side out against decks that you have seen playing Droll, or even if you haven't seen in game 1, you are sure that in this format Droll is played, so this heavily plays into Droll. Stratos too plays into Droll, another important thing. So your normal summon has to be Vion, okay? If you add Poly as your first card, then you are sure to place board, you know? At least have something. Then we have one Polymerization and one Miracle Fusion. I've tried 2 polys in a 40 card deck. I have came to the conclusion that the second poly is only needed against specific type matchups like Runic or Kashtira, because Rysart is a card I hate with all of my passion. Banish 3 cards from your opponent's deck face down. Fuck! Dude! Stay away from the top of my deck! I hate Rysart. I profoundly hate Rysart. Then again, if we play 2 poly in the main deck, in a 40 card deck, we are more susceptible to breaking on one copy of it, because the deck sometimes struggles with its own clunkiness. You know the saying, heroes only lose to themselves, to itself, as a deck, and it's very true. Also, we have Favorite Contact, of course. This card is insane, is literally Tri-Brigade Revolt for heroes, and it's searchable. You always want to main deck it. If you go second, you still leave this card in your main deck. You never side it out. It's really that powerful. Saved me in a lot of game states. By closing out the main deck profile, we have Triple Ash Blossom. The opinion I have on this card is a bit controversial, maybe, but I think Ash Blossom, especially right now, is really mid. And that's why I play it, because you can never go wrong with the middle ground. Mid is best. That's why we play heroes. It's a rogue deck. It's a very powerful deck. It's tier 3, tier 2 at times, but really, at its core, it's mid. And you can never go wrong with mid. That's my personal opinion. Mid is best, because it covers a lot more of matchups. Most of the time, you don't close games, but you leave your opponent on top deck mode. So I really love this deck for this reason also. It never risks banlist hits. It always stays powerful the same way every format. I love heroes, man. This is one particular reason why I keep playing it. Because it's mid. And I love mid. I love being mid. Because it's not like it's not enough. It's always enough. It's not like at any point is going to be too broken or too much. It's a perfect relationship. It is enough. Just like things should be. Always. Not too much, not too little. Book of Moon is a very powerful staple right now. It covers all of the 4 axes of its playability. It can be used actively and reactively, offensively and defensively. This card is insane, and it's much more safer than Book of Eclipse. So play Book of Moon. Play Book of Moon. Triple in the main deck. And then we have double Forbidden Droplet and one Cold Bite the Grave. These are staple. Forbidden Droplet is one hell of a card, one of the most indirect, powerful hero support that the deck has received in years. Always play your copies of Forbidden Droplet, even one is okay. Don't worry about the budget. And then triple Infinite Impermanence to close out the 40. Infinite Impermanence is really powerful right now because against the Synchro deck, the Synchron deck, or the Vanadium deck, if you stop Riomart to crush its balls, or the Crimson Dragon, this is always live. It's always powerful and can also be used offensively on the third turn by flipping it to negate its column. So always place it in the Kashtira Birth column, because that card is insane. That card should go to 1 or 0, because the problem with Kashtira is not Farrier nor even a Rizard, it's Birth. So that's what I think, and that's also why we play Infinite Impermanence for that specific matchup. Now, going into the extra deck, it's the same old extra deck you see everywhere. One Infernal Rage, hell of a card, I love it. Up-Zero, the namesake of this channel, my favorite hero monster. You always want to be able to have a Raigeki, a bomb on your field. Sometimes it really does protect you. One Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, I love this card to pieces. It's really one of my favorite recent support the deck has gotten in the last like 4 years. One Dangerous discard, I believe it's mandatory, because when you open Increase but you have a way to go into Dangerous, that fixes your end automatically. Opponent has to have no interruptions, but with the Dangerous line you are guaranteed a DPE and a follow-up for next turn. So this card is insane. In a grind game, if you by some chance haven't already used your only one Shadow Mist, can be thanks to Fusion Destiny, your second or third copy you already have in your hand in your deck, a Foolish Burial for any hero in your deck. So this is a late game starter also, and a really good card in general. So I would not cut it if not for Escuridao, because Escuridao also helps the deck a lot. But we play double Darklow, so maybe one day I'll go back to cutting one, but for now I'm sticking to 2 Darklow, because in very specific matchups having the second Darklow wins you the game. Anyway, the Dangerous was not put in order in the extra deck. We firstly have the Elemental Hero Sunrise. This is the card that Unicorn should ban from your opponent extra deck. If you're a Kashtira and you are playing against heroes, don't ban DP, because we also have Plasma, we also have Shining Neos, we have Wake Up. Always ban, if you're going first or second, ban the Sunrise. Because if the Sunrise hits the field, it's game over. This card is the most powerful starter in the extra deck. Also, it's literally Wraith Soft. It's literally your field spell. Ban it. It does the same 3 things. And to complete our Elemental Hero Fusion package, we have Shining Neos, self-explanatory, the Guardian Chimera of the archetype. Really, really powerful. This plus DPE wins alone. And then we have Dangerous, of course, the DPE. I would play double DPE, but, you know, there is not enough space in the extra deck. Also, if we go first, we resolve it. If we go second and a Kashtira Unicorn bans it, you know, it really wasn't the game. So why bother adding a second DPE by wasting an extra slot? That's the way I think. Double Darklow and 1 Blast. Blast is mandatory. Never cut your Blast. Please, this card wins alone against Runic or even Labyrinth with the right hand. So having access to a back row control card is really necessary. It's really strong. And that was it for the Fusion Monster. For the Link Monster, we have the standard Link package of 2 Cross Crusader, 1 for starters, 1 for the grind. Never underestimated the grind game that gives you this card. This card is insane. It is the most powerful Link Monster hero has. And also we have 1 Wondrous Driver and 1 Infernal Divisor. And then the Dread Decimator. Dread Decimator goes over Baguska. Dread Decimator goes over 1 niche out to our deck, which is native, which is incredible. I cannot believe I lost that many times against this specific deck. Blackwing. So If they summon Full Armor Master, which is a 3000 body, immune to other cards, you cannot get away with Plasma, you cannot get away with Droplet, you cannot get away with anything, because it's immune to other cards, so you only need to punch it in the face really, really hard. And so Dread Decimator, at this time, together with Shining Neos, are our only outs to that card, which is insane. We can win against every deck imaginable, but we struggle against one Blackbird boy. Finishing it off for the side deck, sorry, we have one Elemental Hero Blazeman. This card is very clutch against shifter decks. This card, if you draw it together with another starter, like a Faris and any other hero which is not increase, or you know, a special summon like a Fusion Destiny or a Hero Lives, this card lets you combo under Shifter because it adds you a polymerization from your deck on summon. So very, very niche interaction, very powerful card. Until we have Shifter in the metagame, I suggest you play one Blazeman in your side deck. Playing it in your main deck alongside two Vions and only one polymerization is really too much. So only play it in the sideboard if you go with one poly. Then we have the Dark Angel. We place this card alongside with our rivalry of Warlords against, you know, practically any matchup if we go first. So really, really powerful Floodgate, but we don't play in the main deck because we wanna play triple Infinite Impermanence or triple staple card in addition to our main combo. 3 draws. We're still in a draw format. This card is still very powerful, very annoying to deal with. So it only loses to Shifter, so I wouldn't bother siding in against a deck that plays Shifter, just because it hard loses to that card. And if they Shifter you in their own turn by chaining something to their starter, then draw becomes useless, literally useless. You have 3 dead cards, and so I would side this card against any other matchup. Then we have 2 Cosmic Cyclone and 1 Duster, of course. These are our back row removal. This is the Spice in the sideboard I was talking about earlier, and it is a second copy of Polymerization. This is really good against Kashtira matchup and the Runic matchup, because this is your most important card in the deck, and if one is banished, then you basically are cut off of half of your plays. So you only rely at that point on Fusion Destiny, which is really bad because you only have 3 in your 40 card deck. So you either draw it or you summon Plasma or you die. So yeah, Polymerization carries this deck really heavily. So having a second copy in the side deck is never expected, and yeah, it's really good. So this card, this Flex Spot, could also have been like a Trust, which is really good, or a third Droplet, but I think having already so many answers to effect negation or the front row of the opponent is really redundant to play a third copy of Droplet. Besides, we have so fewer monsters in the main deck that having to discard some to activate Droplet feels like an egg. Okay, so 2 is the right ratio to me. So the third one is redundant. But if you want to play the third Droplet, place it in your sideboard. But it could also have been, of course, the Triple Tactics Talent. One of course. But yeah, I opted for the second poly because I feel like that makes me smart. Then for the last cards, we have Triple Evenly Matched. This card is insane. One of my favorite board breakers ever. And yeah, 3 Rivalry of Warlords. Always play this card. This card to me is a staple. It's mandatory in every hero deck, or every deck in general that wants to go first post sideboard, because this, even though most of the decks play only one type of monster, this protects you against kaijus. That's all. So that was the deck profile. So I hope you enjoyed. Comment with whatever crosses your mind. This was the first time I ever did a video in English, so I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, subscribe to the channel to help it grow. See ya, and of course, as always, arrivederci.